Well, fans of the Ordo Malleus. Check it out, we've got Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. We're going to do a playthrough of this thing. It's going to be really long. This is a very long game. We're on Ruthless, which is the second hardest difficulty. It's hard, not very hard. The reason why is this game's actually easy if you cheese it. If you abuse the really OP shit. But it's kind of boring because you're just constantly repeating the same strategy over and over. And we just got a DLC. We'll just get moving here. I'm gonna move my ship to attack this planet here as we get started. So we just got the new DLC to add the Officio Assassinorum assassins to the game. So normally you're just playing as Grey Knights, right? And you can get a Grey Knight Tech Marine, and you can get some servitors to help you, and eventually you can get a Chaos Dreadnought for certain missions. But it was just Grey Knights, servitors, and a Grey Knight Dreadnought. Now you can get assassins, which is really cool, but I don't know how powerful they're gonna be. So I'm not sure whether or not I wanted to play on the maximum difficulty, because if the assassins aren't as powerful as the most OP Grey Knight builds, well, hard mode is going to be sufficient. The other thing is I really want to have as much diversity with the classes that I use. I want to use lots of different assassins. I want to use the Tech Marine, show off the Dreadnought. I want to use different builds, not just spamming interceptors, which are really overpowered in this game. Interceptors and Justicars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a class limit of 2 per type of Grey Knight that you have typically, and hopefully this will add a little bit more diversity to the playthrough compared to what you might see on other people playing very hard. I probably could do it on very hard as well, even with these limitations, but it can be a bit tedious, and this is a very long game, so I don't want this Let's Play to go on forever, and I really want to showcase the assassins. So I've done the 2 starting missions, just the little corn tutorial, and then the default mission, which is always scripted. This will be my first other mission than that. So you can see I've just got my 6 basic boys at the start. It's been a really long time since I played this game, so I don't remember if these guys are like set in stone or if they're random. I'm not sure. We've only got 1 interceptor, 2 justicars, an apothecary, and 2 purgators. So we'll see where that takes us. These weapons are all adjusted. We don't have anything too fancy. We're not abusing any crazy DLC weapons or things like that. I believe there's actually some DLC classes as well, which I don't actually have access to, so it is what it is. Let's get involved. The main thing I want to use here is the assassins. Oh, another thing will be I'm only going to use 2 assassins per squad, just to really encourage that diversity. And the thing is, the assassins, from what I understand, will benefit a lot from synergies with the Grey Knights. But obviously, I haven't used any of the assassins yet. They're going to be new to me. I've seen them very broadly used, but I don't know the specifics of their abilities and stuff, so that should be fun for you guys, because you get to see it at the same time that me. And we can figure it out off the top of our heads. So actually, I do remember this mission. I guess these ones are scripted as well. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, this is basically like XCOM. You know, we've got limited movement, we've got AP down here, which is how many attacks we can do, or movement. So you'll see I move here, now I'm down to 2 AP, so I can move here and then shoot twice. Or move here and shoot once. Or move fully up and shoot 0. But we don't see any enemies yet. Typically, when you encounter the enemies, so we know there's enemies in that area, but the combat phase hasn't initiated. So nothing happens. If the combat phase initiates, then typically we will get our AP back, as far as I can recall. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played this game, so I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, one thing that you typically want to do, especially later in the game, you kind of want to move up 1 bit at a time, move up, you know, slowly move up. Now, if I move 2, and then I move another Grey Knight, I can't come back and move the remaining AP. Once you've moved, that's it. But nevertheless, later on, you want to sort of stagger your movements slowly, because you don't know when you're going to encounter the enemies. And if you get too close, you can get jumped. I will play through the story cinematics as well, even though, you know, my gameplay is generally more about the challenge of the turn-based combat and all that stuff. But I will play it through for those of you who don't know the story. Of course, I have played the story, not that I can fully remember it, to be honest, but I have a broad idea. Generally, the basis of this game is that there is a nurgle infestation going on. These guys are obviously nurgle cultists. You might be thinking, damn Torpid, your Grey Knights are struggling against nurgle cultists early on. Yeah, early on they do, which is a little bit ridiculous and is obviously just something that you have to accept for gameplay reasons. But the really cool thing about this game is that in the late game, your Grey Knights turn into absolute monsters. I mean monsters, guys. They become so absurdly strong. It's crazy. It won't take long for these cultists to be a non-threat to our Grey Knights. You're going to see that, okay? Anyway, for now, what we need to focus on is actually beating up these cultists. And you also don't want to take too much damage when you do these. So I could just charge straight in and beat these guys up in melee, and we'd win. The problem is that my Grey Knights would get so hurt and injured that then in the wider campaign, I'm going to struggle because I have to spend time then letting them heal, or they will re-enter the battle with reduced maximum HP, and that's when you will actually lose. And if these guys are killed, they die permanently, so yeah, that's pretty scary. We've got an Overwatch mechanic, as you'd expect from XCOM. So if I walk out right here with this Grey Knight, I'm going to get shot and take damage. However, I can teleport because this is an interceptor, and this is why interceptors are very, very powerful. I don't really want to teleport over this direction because there's simply too many enemies. But what we can probably do... we can teleport over here near this boy. And then we can run behind him and get chopping him up. In fact, I've got a better idea. We can go... I'm trying to think now, can the cultists shoot these things down? I'm pretty sure they can't. So, let's run over here. There's another set of enemies there, that's fine. Now we've got one more AP. What we can do, we can shoot the terrain here. We can shoot this pillar and knock it down on top of this guy and kill him instantly. And the reason why I want to do that rather than just chopping him up with my other 2 AP is that now I'm in cover behind this thing so that they can't shoot me from over here. They have to sort of flank around. Whereas if I was stood here, all these guys could just shoot my guy in the open, right? So you can use a lot of the environment to your advantage as the Grey Knights. That's kind of a thing. I've got a grenade here, a frag grenade, not very good range in it though. You can use the grenades to knock back the enemy and disrupt their Overwatch. That is something that you can do. Not really a good position to move to here though, in terms of getting into cover without eating a load of shots. Though, what you can do is you can use your Aegis here to gain a little bit of armor. So armor is what you'd expect from any RPG. You get shields for 1 turn. Well, actually, with the Aegis shield you get the armor for 1 turn, which basically acts as a shield in a traditional RPG. They've got to destroy your shield before they can take down your HP. So I can activate that and then go into half cover here, triggering the Overwatch. Because I'm in half cover, I only take half damage. And I shouldn't take any damage then because of the shield. I'm just thinking if I want to do that or not. This guy has a lot less HP. This guy's got loads of HP. So he probably wants to be the one that advances the furthest. So I am going to do that with my Apothecary. Let's tank with the damage with the Apothecary because he's obviously the weakest in combat, as you would expect. And we're just going to move him up to here. There you go. They actually did inflict some damage on us, which is a bit weird. So that was 3 damage. Seems like a lot. Jeez. So we can check. Oh yeah, look. Shoots a target at range 10 to deal 3 damage. I thought I was in cover though, so I should have took less. I don't know. I guess not. Weird. Anyway, whatever. So they take 1 damage off of us because you can see that the 2 HP there from the Shield of the Aegis has been negated.
What is your will?
Anyway, what we can do here is we can start to advance a little bit. We've got pieces of half cover lying around. Let's move this guy up the front. He's the big tanky boy with 17 HP. He can heal the HP. And what we can do here is we can destroy this little brazier and burn these fuckers. Always feels good to burn the nurglings. I mean, anyone who follows nurglites, I think. Nurglings are the little demons, aren't they? Anyone who follows nurgle, it just feels right to burn them. So, this guy here, the Purgator, he has a silencer right now. You can equip him with an incinerator, a silencer, a bolter, or a psycannon. The silencer is probably the best in the early game because it gives you the most range. And also you can see in the bottom left there, this sword thing changes to 4 out of 4 ammo. That's the amount of ammo you have. Silencers have 4 ammo and they have the longest range out of all those weapons. They're very, very good in the early game. Unfortunately, we don't have line of sight on these guys. But we can pound these guys. Alternatively, I could use my grenade here and knock them back into the fire, which might be a good idea. I don't know how much damage they're going to do. Fuck it, let's just throw a grenade at them. So, with your frag grenades, the ability to knock back enemies is really important. You can knock them off the map, or you can knock them into fire. So that one guy there should get incinerated.
Die, abomination!
Oh, I guess the burn effect happens at the end of the turn?
Fall, monster!
I don't know. Yeah, it happens at the end of the turn, fair enough. There is one disadvantage with that, though, in that we didn't get any XP for him dying, so that is a problem, actually. Something to consider. And these guys are going to run down. They're flanking my cover here, putting a lot of damage on the Purgators, but I will heal him with my Apothecary. And the Justicar will get into melee.
I am here to serve.
Why does he only have 2 AP? Because he got hit by the pinning grenade. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It makes me lose AP. Sad. Whatever, that's fine. Just shoot my Apothecary then.
You cannot harm me.
So you'll see here that the mitigation on constantly healing with your Apothecary is that it costs 2 willpower, right? You see my willpower down here. I only have a maximum of 3 for now. That will increase as I level up these Grey Knights.
These wounds will heal.
So in order to do another heal, I need to kill someone with my Grey Knight to get another willpower back.
The Emperor lights our path. Ooh.
Let's see. Oh wow, he can actually kill all 3 of them. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm using the special ability here of the Silencer, which is called Scatter Shot. Does arcing damage, but it depletes all of my ammo. So typically what you want to do is you want to shoot your normal shots, lowering your AP and your ammo. And then when you're lower on ammo, you can activate this, and it doesn't do damage based on ammo. Whether you've got 1 ammo or 4, it's going to do the same damage, which is pretty cool. I'm now thinking I maybe could have done that whilst in Overwatch. I'm not sure if shooting whilst in Overwatch triggers the Overwatch. Not sure, I can't remember. As you can tell, it's clearly been a long time since I've played this game, which should hopefully make it a bit of a challenge still, even though we're only playing on Ruthless and not Legendary. I thought there was another enemy up here, but he seems to have disappeared, which is a bit of a strange one. I don't really know what happened there. Yeah, he's gone. So anyway, we're going to just move over to here. And we're going to wait for the rest of our boys to catch up. And, oh, hello. Okay. Yeah, so if they walk past melee units, well, if anything, not just the enemy, but anything walks past melee units, the melee units will strike at them once per turn, typically, unless they've got some skill that increases that beyond just being 1 attack per turn. But by default, it's one melee attack per turn passively on anyone walking past you. And obviously, Grey Knight's got them big spooky melee weapons. Certainly the Justicar and the Interceptor. The Apothecary's got his little Narcissium or whatever it's called to inject people with. You can use that offensively. I believe the Apothecary gets some bleed kind of special bonuses on his weapon because of that tool. And that's going to be relevant later on when we get the Aversa Assassin, because he can eviscerate enemies to do extra damage based on the amount of bleed stacks that they have on them, which will be pretty cool. So obviously a bit of synergy there with the Aversa Assassin and the Apothecary. I think they did do a bit of a rework when they added the Aversa to the bleed mechanic and added the bleed mechanic to a bunch of other things in the game, so we'll have to just experiment with that and see what we get. A bunch more cultists. So there's 3 main types of cultists here. You've got your standard little bolter ones, or pit autoguns. This guy has a grenade launcher, so they can pin you with like a stun grenade, or they can shoot out the toxin grenade, which doesn't hurt you immediately. Oh no, that seems to be the pinned one. Ah, time bomb, that's it. Yeah. So they lower your AP with the toxin grenade, or they can shoot the time bomb, which does huge damage, but the problem is it takes a turn to kick in, so you can dodge it. But basically, they make you move, right? Let's see what this guy's got. Yeah, this is your standard guy. He's just got an autogun, and he punches. So these are like the weakest, basically. I mean, they're just basic enemies. But then you've got these guys who have more HP, and they're your heavy stubbers. Team Fortress 2 style, it's your heavies, boys. These guys are pretty fierce. Let's see how much damage they do. Yeah, so they actually only do the same damage as the autogun, but they do it at longer range. The key thing with these, though, is that they have this crazy ability, Suppressive Fire, 14 range. It's basically targets one of my knights, and if that knight moves, they take 6 damage, which is obviously huge. From 14 range, and you can cancel that by knocking them over or hitting them in melee. So they can lock down any isolated knights. Generally, you do want to blob up quite a lot in this game.
What is your will?
Anyway, let's think about how we can engage this here. I don't really want to teleport in yet with my Interceptor. I think I just kind of want to move everyone forward a little bit. Let's put this Interceptor in cover and activate my Aegis Shield.
Yes, Commander.
Let's move the... Let's move the Apothecary to here. Not the Apothecary. Yes, it is the Apothecary. Oh, I thought it was the Purgator, so that was a mistake. Oh well. Yeah, you activate your shield as well, that's fine. Justicar over to here. He can shoot one. The Stormbolters are okay. Later on you get some higher damage Stormbolters, which can be impactful. For now they're not that great, they don't do a lot of damage. But with the Grey Knights you get loads of AP, so... it's fine. It works out. If you're fighting things like Plague Bearers, Stormbolters are very nice because they don't really have any armor. And they're just a bit of a pain in general to fight in melee. Yeah, fine, just move to here and we can take some shots against this fool. We'll actually activate the Aegis as well. So there goes that pinning grenade, lowering my AP, so that's quite annoying. And now he's going to shoot out a time bomb. So that gets us moving, but we're going to attack with the Interceptor next turn. They has to reload his time bomb. Or maybe it's... I think he has to reload his... Oh, I don't know whether it's his time bomb or his pinning grenade. For some reason, the heavy subber chose to pin down my interceptor, which is a terrible idea because he's literally the only one who can just teleport out of it. The other ones, they wouldn't be able to. They'd have to walk out of it, and then they'd take a lot of damage. So that's a bit weird. And now they're overwatching him as well. So this is great for us, basically. A lot of damage coming into the interceptor, however. What I'd like to try and do here is I really need to try and get a kill on the apothecary. Not on the apothecary. I mean, with the apothecary. So that I can get another heal in. Okay, here you go. So you're now seeing a mechanic explained as well. The warp surge at the top. Essentially, every time I use a psychic power, I increase the warp surge. When it gets to 100%, the enemy gets a buff or reinforcements called in. So you see, if I walk to the side here, I'm going to get wrecked, instantly dead by this guy and the overwatch from this guy. But I can teleport, so GG no re. Question is, where do I want to teleport to? Let's just teleport over here. I'm curious to see if I push this open. Yeah, that will do good damage to him. Okay, cool. So what we'll do is we will do precisely that. We'll knock this over and do good damage to the heavy stubber. Boom. Not going to kill him, unfortunately. What I can do, though, is I can chop this guy up.
Your orders?
Let's see.
I am here to serve.
Ooh, I'm so close to being able to kill that guy. If I get point blank range with him, I can actually shoot him to death, so let's do that. I wanted the kill on the apothecary. So you'll see here, this is the advantage of the Stormbolt with the apothecary in particular. His melee weapon only does 3 damage, because that's what you need for the heal, but at point blank range the Stormbolter actually does 4, so that will kill. So that's a dead cultist.
You have been judged.
And now I get +1 willpower, so now I can heal with the apothecary next turn.
Blade is ever ready.
And right, what are we going to do with the other guys? So
Praise the Emperor.
why is it got the red? Oh, because he's in range of this fucking Overwatch? Are you kidding me? God damn it. That's annoying. Well, I'm going to have to take that Overwatch, I think. Unless... What I wanted to do was, I've got this ability here on the Justicar, and it's part of the reason why the Justicars are so OP. Now, this ability doesn't have all of its buffs yet, so it doesn't sound that good. Basically, I use 1 AP and 1 willpower on my Justicar, and can give an AP to another unit. Eventually, that becomes 2 AP, or 3 AP for 2 willpower when I boost it. Which is, yeah, that gets pretty insane with an interceptor that can teleport. And I imagine on an Aversa Assassin that will get insane as well. Because they just do crazy high melee damage and have really good movement range. So with more, and they can boost their own AP as well at the cost of HP. So this could be very nice with an Aversa Assassin. Justicar, Apothecary. We'll see. But yeah, right now it's only 1 willpower. So I was going to put that willpower on him. And then he could run over and kill the heavy stubber. But it's not really a huge deal, I guess. I think... Let's just walk over here. I take the damage on the Justicar. And I will indeed, I think, activate this. Not really anywhere for me to move here, but there's going to be more enemies coming in here, which is awkward. I think if I stand here, I don't get blown up by that. Oh, the other thing I forgot is I can actually shoot the time bomb as well, which probably a decent idea. Let's just shoot this fool. I actually think the Purgators with the silencers are so strong in the early game. And we're going to activate Honor the Chapter. Now the Interceptor gets an extra AP, and he can now move over to slay this fool. There we go, I dealt with that heavy stubber. Yeah, fuck it. Just run back here. There we go. Hopefully this doesn't destroy our cover. Oh, okay. It totally did. And there's still that grenadier who's pinning us down. Yeah, it's the pinning grenade that he has to reload. So that uses his 2 AP.
Come at me now.
Fair enough.
More of the plague god's minions.
This way, out of sight.
Oh, and I believe that's just poxwalkers, which are like the early game melee enemies. Eventually they'll become plague bearers as things get a bit more challenging. For now, we can just chop this grenadier up in melee. But what we're going to do just before we end that, I want full HP here on my interceptor, so I'm going to use my Medicae servo skull. That just, it's a one-time use per mission, heals me by 5, removes any debuffs. Eventually we can increase that, you know, the heal and the quantity that we can carry. But for now it's just a one-time thing.
Ready to
okay, what else can we do here? This is a little tricky, this
the
one.
Emperor lights our path. Praise the Emperor. At your service.
Now, we can just
Opening fire.
kill this guy.
The pain will set you free.
Yeah, that'll be... Is that all of our AP? I've only shot twice, I don't really understand. Oh yeah, because I got pinned, but didn't I, with a toxin grenade I keep forgetting. Which lowers our,
Here to serve.
our AP. So... I probably should be bringing more
At your command.
medical servo skulls, because this Justicar's going to get injured pretty bad actually, which is not ideal.
Yeah.
I could use... Okay, fine. I'm gonna use the Aegis here in my Apothecary and let the Apothecary get hit again. No, because I don't have the AP to
My blade is
do much else with him. Okay, that was a mistake. Oh, I get +3 armor.
The Aegis shields us.
I think that's a Justicar thing. The Aegis and the Justicar heals more. I think. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? You just stand there. Just stand there. That's fine. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna heal ourselves with the Apothecary. There we go. Now the question I've got, so you can see if I walk here, it has the red under my shields, which indicates the Overwatch will trigger and do that much damage to me. If I Overwatch back, does the same thing happen? See, if I click this, that isn't gonna cause me to take the Overwatch. Whereas if I was to Overwatch or to shoot him, then I lose the shield. So we're not gonna do that. All we're gonna do is reload, which again doesn't trigger Overwatch. We're just gonna stand there with our shield up. And we got one cultist here. Oh, another grenadier, lovely. And then we've just got these poxwalkers, which are melee enemies, basically zombies. Nurgle zombie tings. So fighting in melee, does that trigger the Overwatch? Indeed it does. Ugh, everything triggers the Overwatch, man. But we can activate Aegis Shield again. And then smack this guy in melee and activate Force Strike. So this is going to add a little bit to the Warp Surge. It's going to use an extra willpower, but what does it do? It makes me do 1 extra damage. You see, strike an adjacent target to deal 4 damage. Force Strike, strike an adjacent target to deal 5 damage. And that's convenient because it will kill the Poxwalker instantly. That triggers the Overwatch, but I had a shield of 3, so that's fine. Unfortunately, you need to reload here on my Purgator. But then what we're going to do with the Purgator is we're going to walk to here. We're going to use Scatter Shot, and that will annihilate all of these Poxwalkers. Be careful not to hit your own Grey Knight when you're doing that, though. So there you go. That will annihilate these fools. Get a lot of XP onto our Purgator. So that's one other thing to consider. Your units in this game, just like XCOM, they're leveling up as they kill things, and as they live through more missions. The problem is, you only get XP on them. It's not shared, basically. You only get XP every time that Grey Knight kills something. So, yeah, you need to be careful how you distribute your kills. Things like an Apothecary are really going to struggle at leveling up because they don't kill a lot. So you really want to try and fish for kills whenever you can with things like the Apothecary. So we're not. This isn't a perfect run because we've actually ended up taking some HP damage. But you know, is what it is. Yeah, we'll just walk the Apothecary over and shoot this guy, whatever. We do have other Grey Knights in the back, which we can switch to for the next mission to give these guys a little bit of time to heal. There is a sort of minor strategy element to this in between the missions, where you can spend your finite resources to boost your ship in different ways, whether that means making your Grey Knights heal faster, whether it means getting more servitors to upgrade your ship faster. There's loads of things. We'll talk about that when we actually discuss what upgrades we're going to get in that grand strategy kind of map. But for now, we get a kill with the Apothecary. There you go, a little bit of XP to our Apo. Beautiful. Grey Knights killed some nurgle cultists. Wow. Impressive. Well done, Torpid. Now, I'm not sure when we get our first Officio Assassinorum fighter. I'm still a little bit unsure which one I want. I definitely don't want the Colexus. That is going to be more of a late game tool to deal with enemy psykers. We're not going to be fighting a lot of psykers early on. The psykers are very powerful. But when they do present, I think a Colexus will be beautiful. So you can see here, these guys have got light wounds, which means for 20 days now, they're going to have -4 max HP. Problematic, boys. That's why it's really important to manage your HP situation. So, what is going on in this big overworld map? Well, basically it's a race against time. You'll see here that each of these planets have these 5 dots underneath them. That is the level of plague infestation on that planet. Eventually, if it gets too high, an event will trigger, and if you don't get to it, the planet will be permanently lost to Nurgle. And if that happens on too many planets, you lose the entire campaign. Pretty terrible, really. You need to intervene. And getting them early, whilst they're just seeding a planet, is the best way to do that, certainly early on. It will make you fight lower levels of enemies. Generally have easier missions, but eventually you'll get to a point where it's impossible and you literally can't get to all of them. I mean, straight away here, there is only limited space. You see this green bar? That's how long we have to get to the bloody planet and stop the seeding from happening, or later on the blooming, or whatever is occurring. We had 3 missions here and we were spawned in the middle. So we can only reach 2 of them in time. In fact, yeah, I can just reach this in time. You can see the red bar is how long it's going to take me to travel there. But there's no way to get all 3 of them, and that is something that will persist in the campaign. So basically, the longer you take, eventually you will lose. It's kind of like cancer in real life. You know, if you live forever in real life, you're guaranteed to get cancer, because just by living and your cells splitting and regenerating, there is always a small chance of getting cancer. If you live forever, you're guaranteed to get cancer. That's how it works. Well, this game's kind of like that with a Nurgle virus, which is very fitting, isn't it? If you never actually finish the bloody campaign, you will eventually lose to the plague. you have to do the story missions because it is literally impossible, no matter how good you are at the game, to have your ship moving fast enough to constantly stop the plague from spreading. So you do it. The story missions are limited, they're behind certain things, and you have to fight to keep the plague from spreading in between the story missions. The story missions are hard as well, so you will want to farm experience to get better knights, and now assassins as well, before you can take on those story missions. And so here's the other thing. These missions here all give you different bonuses, so let's just quickly talk about them. Requisitions. Requisitions are your currency that you use at checkpoints in the campaign to purchase new Grey Knights, assassins, and special war gear. Very useful. Very useful. Prognosticars are a finite resource. Unlike the others, which are infinite, you can keep farming them. Prognosticars are finite. You generally only get these, by having upgrades in your ship. And what you can do with the prognosticars is you place them on the map, and then it grants you basically protection in the area. Your ship will move. No, your ship doesn't move faster. Rather, the effects of the plague are weakened in that area, and you get more time before the missions expire in that area as well. So prognosticars are very handy, but probably not a big deal in the other game. Grimoires multiply your research speed, which helps you complete the campaign faster and gives you buffs faster. Research is mostly used to give you buffs in your missions that we don't have access to yet. Can I show that? So if we go into the research menu, oh no, it doesn't tell me. It says forbidden knowledge, but there's something, I think they might be called canticles. I'm not sure. That's a very Adeptus Mechanicus term. Basically, it's a one-off buff that you get per level. And these all here, these are trees with different canticle buffs. So it might be click the buff in the top left and you can heal all your Grey Knights for 8 HP, or click the buff in the top left and you can choose to teleport all your Grey Knights to a location. Click the buff and have plus 50% critical strike for 2 turns, things like that. You can use them once per turn. So research is valuable for that, and then for progressing the story and getting some other passive buffs. So grimoires are super helpful, and we actually just got 2 from that previous mission, and we're going to get another grimoire over here. You see, you get different rewards from each mission. If we look over here, it's going to give us 15 servitors. So what are servitors? Servitors are used to construct upgrades to your ship. If we look at the ship status here, we're currently getting... What are we getting right now? Oh, we're getting the augmentation chambers, which produce servitors very slowly from our ship. But, you've got boosts to the research speed, you've got boosts to the ship speed. This is just a generic, electricity upgrade, which then allows you to access higher tiers of weaponry, shield upgrade to the ship, gun upgrade to the ship, the ability to exterminate a planet, which resets the plague, obviously. Repair the ship, increase the quantity of Grey Knights that you can have and the recruitment rank that you get them at, more XP to all Grey Knights, gain buffs from using the gene seeds of killed Grey Knights, gain bionic enhancements if a Grey Knight is wounded, and increase healing speed for wounded Grey Knights, and finally more prognosticars. We'll probably get that next after we get this repair chamber sorted. So that explains what these resources are, and you're going to be juggling them quite a lot. Servitors are generally the most valuable thing in the early game, but getting grimoires early is a buff to the rest of your campaign. So, there is always an advantage to getting grimoires earlier rather than later. Let us advance now onto the next mission, hopefully be relatively simple. And hopefully we get access to some of those assassins relatively fast. So we just finished that augmentation chamber. We're now going to generate servitors very slowly. You see here, 1 servitor every 20 days. Now what we want to do is we want to repair the prognosticars. well, repair the Augurium, which grants us access to the prognosticators. You see there, that just cost me 4 servitors. So if you don't get access to enough servitors, you can waste time by passing time in the overworld and not actually repairing your ship in any way or upgrading it. So there's a lot of elements to balance here, which makes the game very fun, I find. I guess some people would find it stressful, but I like that kind of game. So only a crappy little 1 grimoire reward from this, but that's okay. And we're going to swap this knight out. So Mr. Iolanthus is a little bit injured here. We're going to swap him with Mithrak Boars instead. Also, this purgator here, Mr. Darik Fuel, is a little bit injured, so we're going to swap him as well, but we do have some upgrades to get. So, with purgators, generally going for Astral Aim is amazing. This ability allows them to critically hit, guaranteed, for willpower. Why is critically hitting important? It allows you to dismember enemies, which really, really valuable. You know, you can literally shoot the arms off of someone with a heavy stubber from really long range. Suddenly he's not a threat. You know, what's the cultist going to do to grain out of his fists? Nothing! Very powerful. You can, you know, critical hits on drones and dreadnoughts in the late game can berserk them and things like that. It's super useful ability. But they also get access to increased grenade ammo and increased area on grenades. So these guys basically are the ones that you want to give your grenades. Whereas the grenades are in the same slot as the servo skulls. So you give your medical servo skills to the other guys, you give the grenades to these guys. Generally, you probably want to get Astral Aim on all of these at the start. Unless you're going to run Incinerator, which I might actually. I might run Incinerator, particularly if I'm going to have an Incinerator Purgator in a squad with a Vindicare. The Vindicare Assassin can take the role of the Silencer Purgation in killing enemies at long range, and then that frees up my Purgator to have an Incinerator rather than having to be the long range fire support. So I think we'll actually do that. We'll have 1 Incinerator Purgator and 1 Silencer Purgator. So the Incinerator Purgator can also have all the grenades. Because Astral Aim is wasted with the Incinerator Purgator because they can't use Astral Aim with an Incinerator. So, yeah, that'd be a wasted buff. So instead, what we'll do is I'm gonna give this guy for now. Yeah, we're just gonna work on getting more grenades for this guy, and he's gonna become an Incinerator dude. So we're just going to go up this tree and get all the grenades. In the meantime, this gives me more willpower, and it gives me the Sanctified Kill Zone ability, which basically is a psychic debuff. Area 3 makes the enemy get vulnerable. What does vulnerable do? Makes them take 2 damage, plus 2 damage from all attacks. So, it's an okay buff. It's not great. It's okay. What's this do? Gains +1 use per turn for all their autos. But I don't have any autos, do I? Autos. No, I don't have any auto abilities. You can see that here. So, what would an auto ability be? Oh, like that. When shot by an enemy, this knight has a 50% chance to shoot back automatically. So, again, this is kind of useless for an Incinerator Purgation, because they're really short range. Most enemies are going to be shooting them from a range in which they can't retaliate. So yeah, this is not really a big deal. We're just going to skip that. Grab these, and then we'll think later about what we want to get. So there's Blinded over here as well. What's this? Psychic Onslaught. Augments the knight's range attack. Oh, that requires a Psy Cannon. Yeah, we're not going to be using Psy Cannons either. But this is good. More ammo for incinerators is super, super useful. And then we've got the ability to buff an allied. You see, it says target a knight. I'm assuming that these will affect the assassins too. So I'd be able to drain the ammo from the incinerator, which is super high because of these buffs, right? And incinerators have pretty good ammo too. And then target an ally Well, it says target a knight. Well, let's assume it's a Vindicare Assassin. They gain +1 damage per 2 ammo for the next attack. And ignore cover. I think Vindicares ignore cover anyway, but basically it's going to make your Vindicare Assassin, who's already shooting at super long range, do super high damage. Could be good. We'll see. We're very early right now. I haven't even got any assassins, and I don't know which one I'm going to get first, so... We've buffed him. Let's swap him for the other Purgation. This Purgation is going to grab a Psy Cannon. And he's going to keep... No, I'm going to... For now, while I don't have any buffs, I'm actually just going to give them all medical skulls until I get buffs on my grenades. So, we've got a new Justicar here. Is he in Terminator armor? Oh, he is. Beautiful. So, Terminator armor makes you unable to jump over cover and small ledges and gaps. However, you permanently have 2 armor, even without your Aegis shield. And eventually you can get better Terminator armor, which gives you even more. And then eventually you can upgrade them when you unlock that from the story. Like, so you can see here, there's an upgrade here, a yellow upgrade. It'd make it +4 armor by default on this shitty tier 1 armor. Yes, your Grey Knights can get very powerful later on. So this Terminator armor here is basically a buffed one. It gives me immunity to plague, immunity to being hobbled. And that's it. Anyway, yeah, we'll grab that. That's fine. So this guy is just bossing it. That's my Apothecary's gun. Still got the Apothecary. That's the Justicar's gun, so we'll reassign that and we'll grab a better melee weapon. What do I want on him? Yeah, we'll just take a halberd. So that's him done. We got the new Purgator, and then these guys here, the Apothecary and the Interceptor, finished the mission with full HP. So they've got no wounds. So even though they took damage, because they finished with full HP, they get no wounds. So that, again, this is why it's so important to have enough medical servo skulls. So I'm going to change this guy as well to a medical servo skull. Apothecary, right, so what do I want to get for upgrades on him? So yeah, you can see here, Scourging. Target a blast over area 2, inflicts bleed. The AoE bleed ability. It's good with an Aversa Assassin. You can give your Apothecary Terminator armor, probably pretty damn helpful. Increases HP. Where's the healing for the Apothecary? Oh, this is really good as well. So gain the ability to equip more servo skulls. I mean, yeah. Super, super useful. What do these do? Okay, this is improving your heal. So, I mean, this is just... You want a healer? You go down here, get improved heal, get more servo skulls. This is an obvious route to take. Other than that, you've got bleed up here for synergy with Aversa Assassins. You've got the... extracting seeds. Afflict bleed in melee. Not great. Hobble enemies in an area, basically lowers their move speed. It's very awkward though using these sort of psychic abilities on your Apothecary, you know, whether it's the movement speed debuff or the bleed one, because that's draining your willpower. And remember what we were just talking about? Remember what we were just talking about with the draining of the willpower means that you don't have enough willpower to heal, which is a bit, you know, not the best. You kind of want to save your willpower for healing. More max HP. Movement speed, that's good. Yeah, this is good. Warp speed, biomancy, so you can buff one of your allies to have more crit damage and more move speed. Pretty awesome. Anyway, for now, I'm actually going to get Terminator armor. And I'm just going to get the extra willpower. And then we'll start working our way up here for better heals and more servo skulls. So now that he's got Terminator armor, we can actually change his loadout and give him that Terminator armor. And then go over to the interceptor. What do we want on this crazy guy? Abilities. Alright, let's see. So, he already has his teleport. I didn't realize that's not a starting ability. I guess that makes sense. The starting ability for the interceptor is that his melee attacks can't be parried, which is essentially if you attack someone who's a dedicated melee fighter, they have a 50% chance to parry your attack once per turn, which just means they negate all the damage from it. But they can't do that to interceptors. I assumed the teleport was the starting ability for the interceptors, not that, but it isn't. Anyway, we can get increased range on our teleport, very, very powerful. And +2 maximum willpower, also quite useful. More willpower down here. Improved Aegis shield, feels a bit bad. I know you're jumping into crazy situations with the interceptor, but it doesn't feel like you should be tanking. It feels like if you have to tank with your interceptor, you've probably played it wrong. What's this? Choose a target. Oh, you can silence people, which basically means they can't cast spells. Interesting, but again, I'd like a Colexus assassin who hopefully can do that. What's this? When this knight crits, they have a chance to gain AP back. Oh, that's insanely overpowered. Yep, that's one of the best things. And then increased chance to crit. Yeah, we want to get this eventually, for sure. Boosted melee attack for willpower, more crit damage. Yeah, all these are very, very good. Activate this. Activate to give this unit bleed. Okay. Interesting. For now, we're just going to get more teleport range, and oh, this is good as well, support fire. Oh, interceptors are so broken, guys. All these things are so good. So when an enemy is shot within this knight's weapon range, the interceptor will automatically shoot and do an extra 2 damage. I mean, this is crazy. And then you get this buff, and then it's 4 damage. With this buff, it's 5 damage. I mean, what? With this, they can do it twice per turn. I mean, so that's like an extra 10 damage for free per turn. So then that makes like an interceptor plus a vindicator, or an interceptor and a silencer purgation that are able to shoot loads of times from long range. A really nice combo. So powerful. We have 6 willpower. I think that's actually enough right now. Swap position with an allied knight. Then you've got this crazy set, which lets you hit loads of enemies. Select any number of targets and a valid destination within range 15 to teleport and deal 4 damage to all targets. It's crazy the amount of damage they can do. You can see that will cost free willpower, but still. These guys are terrifying. Let's get this auto though. And we're going to keep this interceptor with a silencer purgation or a vindicator assassin later on, so that he can really utilize that auto. That was a lot of talking, guys. I know there is a lot of talking here. I'm trying to explain the basic mechanics of the game. The future episodes will involve less talking about mechanics and more playing the bloody game. But I know a lot of you won't be familiar with this game. I think it'll be very cool for you to see how things escalate as the campaign goes on, and our Grey Knights turn from struggling to get past a bunch of heretics with auto guns into being absolute monsters, slaying demons left, right and center, and plague marines, and even terminators with autocannons like they're nothing.
The codes used are old, but they are a mark of an...
The way the game manages to scale that, even though cultists at the start are a challenge, I think is so cool. Anyway, this is another mission where we're just going to kill all the enemies. The location of which we don't really know. So let's run down here.
Foes are near. Be wary, my brothers.
I do vaguely remember this mission, so this is a scripted mission as well. I guess these early ones are scripted. But then the missions after that point are randomly generated, which really adds to the replayability of the campaign quite a lot. Especially when you consider that the knights that you get are random as well. And now we've got assassins as well. I mean, it's very cool. It's very cool indeed. So I can't jump down here. Okay, I can jump down here. I'm lying to you. I thought I couldn't because I was in Terminator armor, but it appears that we can jump over ledges. I guess it's just gaps that we can't jump over. Like a little hole in the floor. If it's a short distance, then your power armor, Grey Knights can jump over it, but Terminators won't be able to. So let's lead with the Apothecary since he's in Terminator armor. Boot down the door. Grey Knights are coming. We want to get the high ground here. What we don't want to do is walk down the middle and have all the enemies above us shooting on us. That'd just be stupid. Now the Interceptor can follow. I could send one guy down the middle. I could send my Justicar. There is also this guy, but yeah, I want to get the high ground with my Purgator. Nah, sod it. Let's send everyone around this way. Now, at the end of every turn, the warp surge meter will increase a little bit naturally. It's just something to consider. So it kind of gives you a little bit of an incentive to hurry up and not take too long moving around the map.
Just wait.
It's not really a big deal early on though.
Overwatch.
The enemy won't generally get very powerful buffs. Later on in the campaign, the buffs will become a lot more problematic. So we've got a little bit of Overwatch here. They're kind of blocking me. So we have to try and think about vulnerabilities here. Now there is a special ability on the Purgators to disrupt the enemy's attacks. I kind of want to get... If I was here... So I think the fact that... Do you see how that 2 pops up above the enemy cultist when I put the cursor here? I think what that means is if I'm here, I can't hit him. If I move here, I can. Let's test that. Yeah. So, an ability that the silencers have is the disruption shot. So that will stop the enemy from overwatching if the disruption triggers, which is a 100% chance by default. Later on, the enemy can get buffs that will give them like protection against debuffs. So even though it's 100% chance here right now against this cultist, later on it's not guaranteed, right? This will cost me 1 willpower, but what it should do is knock off his overwatch. Boom, there you go, cool. So now what that allows is for... Oh, I totally forgot about that. There you go. Yes, there you go. That is the auto ability that we just unlocked with the Interceptor. So he was in range, was the enemy of the Interceptor's Stormbolter when I shot him, so the Interceptor automatically shoots. I have 1 more AP. I can now kill this guy. There you go. Dealt with him. Some XP for our Purgator there. And now we have to think. Obviously we can teleport the Interceptor in here and start chopping these guys up, but there's a lot of enemies. It's probably a little bit too early to start doing that. Alternatively, what I think I'm going to do is I think I want to move this Apothecary over to here. I'm in full cover from the front, a little bit vulnerable to the left, but I'm in Terminator armor, so I already have 2 shields, and I can get another 2 with my Aegis. So let's have that Apothecary stay at the front there. I can also move my Interceptor up a bit. Hang on. Yeah, let's move this Justicar over this way. And you can enter your Aegis as well. And I think we'll just wait. I could move here. Oh, in fact, yes, I will. I will move here, because what I want to do is I want to shoot this box. Boom. Blow it up. There we go.
Hold strong. Keep your faith.
And now I'm going to activate the Aegis shield on him. I'm in half cover as well from the front. So let's see what they're going to do. Is he going to try and lock down someone? Yeah, he's locking down the Interceptor. I mean, the fact that the AI do that, that's quite hilarious. They keep trying to lock down the guys who can't be locked down. A lot of movement here from these cultists. I don't know what their plan is there. Fortunately, shooting my guys in Terminator armor, so they're doing no HP damage. Beautiful. Okay, they got 1 HP damage on the apothecary there. So we need the interceptor to go tie up this guy in melee. The only problem is there's more enemies there, which might get alerted. So actually, it'd be nice to disrupt shot him with my purgation instead of getting a bit too keen. Let's move my Justicar over here and chop this fool up. And then move my Justicar over here and chop this fool up.
Standing ready.
Oh, this is rather awkward. I don't think I'm in range. Can't really get in range of this fella either. I think I'm just going to have to not move my apothecary right now. I don't want to teleport down, even if I could reach that guy, which I don't know if I can. Oh, I totally can. Oh, he's in an awkward spot as well. Oh, I think I can leap on top of here and chop him. But actually, no, then I would be hit by his overwatch. So I'd need to run around, and that's definitely going to proc that, so that's a terrible thing. Let's not do that. Instead, I'm just going to teleport down to this fella. And chop him up. Oh, look at that. We just got the chance for a critical hit. I have falchions on this interceptor, which increases the critical hit chance for this reason. So we're not going to be able to kill him unless we use the Force Strike. Oh no, actually, the Force Strike just increases crit with the falchions. It doesn't do more damage. So yeah, we can't kill him. But that's actually totally fine, because we don't need to kill him. He's got no arms. Well, he's only got 1 arm, he has no gun.
Rugen.
Let's just move here and shoot that guy. Get rid of him. There's nothing else that we can basically do with our Purgator anyway. And yeah, you're not gonna move. Just activate your Aegis armor. Yeah. Okay, fine. So he's probably just gonna do a basic shot onto the interceptor. Yeah. Because free damage. It's free damage for him onto my interceptor, and then more damage from him. But we'll heal this guy next. Yeah. Let's move here and heal the interceptor. Not full health. He's 1 off, which is awkward.
Is restored, brother.
But that's fine. Chop him up.
Let the hunter.
Oh no! Oh, that's not good. That triggered all them. Oh, that's actually really bad. Because now we can see my interceptor super far forward, given that all these guys are now stood there. That's not ideal.
Orders. Moving out.
I might have to pull him back.
Firing on target.
Oh, okay. Because of the supporting fire, we'll actually kill him with that, which is beautiful. That gets the interceptor a bit of XP. The interceptor does need to heal his... to reload his gun. Anyway, let's see... We can move... Can move this guy down here. Let's move him up to the front, because he's in Terminator armor, so I'd rather he gets shot than the interceptor. Bang. And then the interceptor... Oh no, the interceptor can't reach. No. Oh well, we're going to just take the hard cover over here then. I was just going to say, the enemy cultist is still in melee range of my Justicar, so when he tries to move out of the melee range, he's going to get hit and then killed, which he did. Because we're not blobbing, we significantly reduce the impact there of that pinning grenade from the grenadier, so that's nice. But yeah, a lot of cultists. A lot of cultists. Shooting at super long range there against my Justicar, not going to be able to break the armor. And we're getting some reinforcements. So, what next? I could grab this sewer manhole cover and chuck it over here and hit both of these fools. That seems like a decent idea. Let's do that. Grab the manhole cover. Boom. Great night shit. Oh, that breaks the bridge apparently as well. Wow, okay. I'd love to shoot that right now, but I can't reach it. If I stood here, I can. Do you see how there's blue pulses coming out? That indicates that I can hit everything within those blue pulses. So I'd have to stand up on this wall here, and then I can shoot that thing. Does it tell me if... Oh, there's no way to know if that's going to blow him up. Oh, just go for it, whatever. Oh, it's not going to reach this guy. Sad. That's sad. Oh well. So we get to kill that one guy. That's not ideal, but whatever. Yeah, I could do with getting a nice melee kill on this fella. Get some of that willpower back. The Apothecary is a little bit vulnerable to being shot in the side by this geezer, but he's got Terminator armor on, won't take too much damage. We are going to teleport in now with the Justicar. Not the Justicar, sorry, the Interceptor. Unfortunately, the Interceptor did get hit in melee here. Actually... This Overwatch is annoying. I'd like to move in and scattershot these fools. Oh, I have no ammo anyway. Oh dear. Maybe we won't move in on him then, actually.
Yes, Commander. Yes, Commander.
If I move here, I can kill this guy.
I am here.
Yeah, I should probably do that. Fine. Sod it. One of these guys is a grenadier, so he's not going to be able to do any damage to me, but the other guys could be problematic. I'm going to actually try this, so it's going to increase my chance to crit from 15 to 35. If we get lucky, we'll be able to dismember him. No luck. That's fine, whatever. Wow, I can reach from here? Jesus, the range on the silencer is absolutely insane. Yeah, that's crazy. This is why the silencers are so nice in the early game. The range is just nuts, man. Look at that. Oh well, that gets rid of him. Whoa. That was the grenadier. Pins me again. It doesn't do any damage, just lowers an AP. And they're going to shoot me in the back. That's fine. And they're going to get some reinforcements. More poxwalkers, which are not really a threat. If you have an incinerator or you have a silencer, these guys trivial, because you got enough AoE damage. Anyway, let's get advancing. So we do have the willpower now for another heal, though we could honestly do with another one.
Standing ready.
What we can do here is we can move this silencer purgation up, and we can weaken the enemy with one shot from here, and that's going to put him in perfect killing range for the Apothecary to come in and regain full willpower. Obviously that's going to clear the Overwatch as well. So now he's back to full willpower. He can heal the Interceptor to full HP next turn, and can move up over here, kill the Grenadier. Move around the back and hit the heavy gunner. And we triggered the crit now, but not very helpful. And we can finish the job now with the Justicar. Then rotate around to deal with the Poxwalkers. Easy enough. Easy enough. Can actually use a bit of Overwatch ourselves here. You'll see here an ability that the Poxwalkers have. They can revive the dead into lesser Poxwalkers, which are literally 1 HP, 1 damage, or groaned Poxwalkers. So they're recently revived. But yeah, trash unit. Let's just move over to here, because then it only takes 2 AP, and what we can now do... we need to reload. Whoops. But yeah, we can reload and we can set up Overwatch. We can use Overwatch too. Generally, the Grey Knights don't have a... You only really use Overwatch against melee threats, right? That are gonna, are gonna have to run at you. Ranged guys are not gonna do that, and using Overwatch requires you to leave cover, so you don't really use it against ranged enemies very much at all. There we go. We get to heal the Interceptor back up, and we can Overwatch here as... hang on, actually. What I'm going to do, since the Justicar is at the front, we're going to activate the Aegis Shield on him. Because I suspect we're not going to be able to shoot to death all 5 of these Poxwalkers. And then we can Overwatch with him too. And then for you, you can't Overwatch with a Silencer. You can Scattershot. In fact, do I just walk in and Scattershot all these fools? No, I want to distribute the damage a bit more evenly. So let's just shoot at this thing. Not the damage, sorry. I want to distribute the XP a bit more evenly, not get all the XP for killing these, just on my Purgator. The Purgator can clean up afterwards with Scattershot. We shouldn't take any health damage from this anyway, because the Justicar's at the front, and he's got 5 armor right now. So, should be good. And we can enter a bit of Overwatch with the Apothecary too. There you go.
See them fall, brothers?
Okay, well apparently we really didn't kill half as many as I expected there, and now more are spawning. Jesus Christ. Yeah, right, okay, but they did no damage, so we're good. In fact, one thing to consider is that Poxwalkers are really good food for your Apothecary to get more willpower. So that's something to consider. In that way, they can actually help you. So I don't think we got anything there because it was a groaned Poxwalker, but if you kill the proper ones, you should gain willpower. So just clean these up. So let's just check. I mean, I'm sure if I kill these normal Poxwalkers, this should give me an extra willpower. I'm at 3 out of 5 now.
Another one down.
Yeah, it did. So that is, they're pretty nice actually. They kind of help you. I mean, I guess you can get overwhelmed if there's shitloads of them, but generally they're not really a threat. They're actually kind of food. Let's move the Purgator here. Did I reload him? Oh, I didn't. Okay, that was stupid of me.
Armed and ready.
Brilliant. So we're now going to actually take some damage, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We can just heal it with the Servo Skulls because we've took so few damage so far from the cultists that it doesn't really matter.
As you command.
And this is why having lots of Servo Skulls in the early game is really nice. In the later game, you can get so many powerful Servo Skulls on your Apothecary that you don't need it. You know, you can start to diversify a bit, so now we can heal off that damage with him. And just check that basically all of our boys have full HP before we end this. And that's nice. So yeah, 16, 12, 13... Not full HP. There you go. So they'll incur no wounds and they can be deployed immediately again without a max HP debuff into the next mission. So that is an ideal playthrough, and that's kind of how you want to do this game. It's not just about winning the missions, it's about winning the missions optimally so that you can do as many missions as possible to get your Grey Knights to be as strong as possible. And like I say, if you abuse the really overpowered classes like the Interceptor and the Justicar with the AP boosts, even on legendary difficulty, this game becomes quite easy. If, however, you don't do that and you actually just use the classes that you're given and you know, you're not cheesing, then it can be quite challenging the way that you stack up these wounds and you have minimized max HP from mission to mission. But that's going to be all for the first episode, folks. As I say, we're going to try and do a full playthrough of this. Hopefully we'll get access to the assassins soon. I was told you do get access to them in the early game. I'll put it in the title if I've got an assassin in the episode. And yeah, so you'll know which one I pick. I don't know which one I'm going to pick so far. I'm torn between all three of the non-psyker killing ones. They all seem good. A Versa assassin to charge in and just rip everything up in melee. The Calidus because it can infiltrate and it can one-shot key enemies and it's just awesome. And then the Vindicator because it's long-range fire support. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, folks. It's going to be all from your boy Torpid this time. Signing out.